Today is Monday, August 5th. What to know today about 2 mass shootings within 13 hours, from what happened to the conversation now, and how the people in the affected communities are setting out to help. Plus, we'll lighten things up with a record-breaking hoverboard flight, a name change to Instagram, and so much more. Welcome to the Newsworthy. All the day's news in less than 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Unfortunately, today we start with not one, but 2 mass shootings that happened in less than 24 hours over the weekend. In total, at least 29 people are dead and more than 50 were hurt. The first one happened in El Paso, Texas, near the U.S.-Mexico border. NBC News reports a gunman went into a Walmart Saturday morning and opened fire. 20 people were killed and more than 24 were seriously hurt. The 21-year-old suspect from the Dallas area surrendered to responding officers and is now in custody. Yes, he's alive. Of course, the investigation is still going on, but that suspect has been linked to a manifesto posted online about 20 minutes before the shooting. The Washington Post says it talks about a, quote, Hispanic invasion and lays out a plan to divide the U.S. into territories based on race. So prosecutors are investigating the shooting as both a hate crime and an act of domestic terrorism, and the suspect might face the death penalty. Then hours after that shooting, another one, this time in Dayton, Ohio. The AP reports a gunman killed 9 people in this one, including his own sister, and hurt at least 27 others outside a popular bar. The shooter was wearing body armor and had multiple rounds of ammunition on him, but police were able to get there fast and kill the shooter in less than a minute after he opened fire, which may have saved hundreds of lives. Investigators are working to find out the motive of that 24-year-old shooter. In both cases, reports say the guns were bought legally. President Trump condemned both of the recent attacks, saying, quote, hate has no place in our country, and, quote, perhaps more needs to be done, but no specifics at this point. He said he's talking with the Attorney General, FBI, and members of Congress about possible solutions, and he's expected to make another statement this morning. As we've seen before, many Republicans are focusing on the mental health crisis, while many Democrats say they want stricter gun laws. And some are pinning at least part of the blame on President Trump, saying he uses hateful language which encourages extremism. The White House pushed back on those claims. As for the people affected by these mass shootings in 2 different communities over the weekend, many are doing what they can to help, like donating blood. Reporters posted pictures of hundreds of people waiting in line for hours at blood donation centers. Expect updates throughout the day about both of these shootings. A citywide strike is happening in Hong Kong today. The Washington Post reports it's paralyzed the transportation networks there, caused hundreds of flight cancellations, and thousands of businesses have closed. This now marks the 9th week and 3rd day in a row of protests. Remember, Hong Kong is a region that is part of China, but gets to do its own thing, like have its own laws and justice system. So these protests started over a proposed extradition bill that would send accused criminals to mainland China to stand trial. That bill has been suspended, but protesters still want the territory's leader, Carrie Lam, to step down, and so far she's refused. She is now condemning any violent protests, saying the city is in crisis. It's never been done before, crossing the English Channel on a hoverboard. Until now. CNN reports a French inventor, Frankie Zapata, made the first successful trip on a jet-powered hoverboard known as a Flyboard. He started in northern France and ended up in England, and the 22-mile trip took him about 20 minutes. It wasn't a straight shot, though. He did have to stop halfway for fuel. Thrillist reports this was Zapata's second go at this. He tried to do it last month, but failed when he fell in the water. He actually made the Flyboard himself, though. It has 5 small jet engines to propel the rider through the air. The French military is reportedly interested in his technology. And Zapata is also working on an idea for a flying car. And speaking of flying cars, a Japanese company just showed off its version of a flying car that hovered for about a minute Monday morning. The AP says it's a large drone-like machine with 4 propellers. The Japanese government is behind this and wants people to seamlessly be able to go from driving on the road to flying around, all by the 2030s. All right, we have more stories still ahead, but I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, MM LaFleur. You may have heard me briefly mention this company in other episodes, so let me explain a little bit more now. With MM LaFleur, you can stop wasting time and that decision-making energy shopping for the perfect work clothes or standing in your closet in the morning rush trying to figure out what to wear to the office. Instead, let MM LaFleur do the styling for you. They kind of take the work out of dressing for work. All you do is take a short survey to tell them about your size and style preferences, and their expert stylist will send a collection of professional outfits tailored to your life. I already got a classic high-waisted knee-length skirt that looks great with any top and is wrinkle-free. MM LaFleur is for professional women, though for any of the guys listening, you'll look really good when you tell the women in your life about MM LaFleur. And right now, new customers can enjoy $25 toward their first purchase or bento box of clothes with the code Newsworthy. Or just visit mmlafleur.com/newsworthy to get more details and to redeem your $25 gift. That's MM LaFleur, spelled MMLAFLEUR. mmlafleur.com/newsworthy to get $25 toward your first purchase. Now back to the news. Well, Instagram and WhatsApp are changing their names, or at least adding to them. The Information first reported that the apps will now be known as Instagram from Facebook and WhatsApp from Facebook, both adding in that from Facebook part. Why? Well, it's basically a way for Facebook to make sure everyone knows it is the company that owns those apps, which is quite a change. The Verge says the app's name will still stay the same on your phone's home screen for now, but the name change will show up in the App Store and Google Play Store. And speaking of Facebook and Instagram, CNET says they were both hit by a global outage yesterday. Facebook hasn't said what caused it, but everything should be back to normal now. For the first time, Victoria's Secret hired an openly transgender model. Harpers Bazaar reports the model is 22-year-old Valentina Sampaio from Brazil. It's a big change from even just 1 year ago. That's when a company executive faced backlash for saying transgender and plus-size models aren't right for the brand. Sampaio has already made huge strides in the fashion world. The Hollywood Reporter says she was the first transgender model to be on the cover of Vogue Paris. Rapper A$AP Rocky is back in the U.S. He was released from jail in Sweden on Friday and was stepping on U.S. soil by Saturday. And he has no plans to return to Sweden. He was accused of assault because of a street fight in Sweden in late June and was in jail there until this weekend. Technically, his case is not over yet, but a Swedish judge let him leave the country while they think things over. Remember, other celebrities, and then President Trump, were calling for A$AP Rocky's release. Trump even sent a representative to help out. NBC News reports the U.S. warned of negative consequences between the U.S. and Sweden if the case was not resolved soon, though Swedish officials had said the rapper would not get any special treatment. A final verdict is expected next week. The Fast and Furious spin-off Hobbs & Shaw raced to the top of the box office this weekend. The movie starring Dwayne Johnson brought in $60 million in North America and $180 million globally. Variety says this is Universal's fifth highest-grossing global launch ever. Disney's The Lion King dropped down to the number 2 spot, but it's still the second biggest film of the year in the U.S. and around the world. Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came in at number 3. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening. And as always, you can read more about any of the news stories we talked about in this episode. You'll find links right in your podcast app or go to thenewsworthy.com, click episodes, and then look for today's date. The Newsworthy is ready for you to listen every weekday by 4 in the morning. I'll be back with more news tomorrow. Have a great day.